Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so it's set. Warriors, Lakers. Game 1 starts on Tuesday at the Chase Center, 6 Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's go time, man. We know exactly who we see now. It's the Golden State Warriors, the defending NBA champions, the current reigning dynasty in the league. And they exercised some serious demons in that Sacramento series and had played a very fast pace. So the pace that we play is what they're used to right now. Now, the thing about it is, we're a much bigger team than the Sacramento Kings, man. But I don't know that helps you in this series when you consider what they can do with their small ball lineups. That's the best small ball there is. There ain't no better small ball. That is what small ball is made of. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Gary Payton, Jordan Poole, and Andrew Wiggins. You're going to get a healthy dose of those 5 players a very good portion of the time. So if you can't match up with them, it's going to be goodbye real soon. We know that. This is the Warriors. Steph Curry just dropped 50 on very efficient shooting. And that is what needs to be understood. We're going against the Warriors, and we know how we are guarding the perimeter. If we don't respect it, it will be our downfall. Turning the ball over against this team is a no-no, and they're going to play defense. I don't know who it was I was listening to, but they were essentially saying that the best defense the Lakers are going to run into is the Memphis Grizzlies. Nah. This is a better defense than the Memphis Grizzlies right here. The Golden State Warriors are going to play better defense than the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're going to put more pressure on you to play more defense than the Memphis Grizzlies as well. And that's going to be what it comes down to. Kevon Looney, we're going to have to respect that this dude is a very strong player who gets offensive rebounds in his sleep. And you couple him with Draymond Green and the continuity creations and playmaking and all that different stuff that those players, those bigs can do, we had better be wise to keep an eye on them. And don't just think it's about Steph, Klay, and Jordan. It's about all those guys. Wiggins, Gary, Dante DiVincenzo, Moses Moody is now in rotation. They used him a lot tonight. He played well on both sides of the floor. So, obviously, Andrew Wiggins playing at an extremely high level. He looks like his old self in rare form. So, we are up against it, LA. We are up against it, but so are they. Because they have yet to see anybody like Anthony Davis, and generally, he kills them. And so, throughout the course of the time that we've seen the Golden State Warriors, believe it or not, the Lakers have never played a playoff series with them. We ain't seen them in a playoff series since 1991. That was before I even started watching the Lakers. And not only that, but we did have a play-in game with them, though, that we can consider where we did beat them in that play-in game. But that is definitely not what this is, and that was before they got better. Simply put, Jordan Poole was still a youngster there, that kind of thing. They didn't have Kuminga yet, Moody yet, none of that. So, this is going to be the first time their dynasty goes up against us in whatever form we are currently. And mind you this, we got Bron James versus Steph Curry. We know what that's about. He's seen the Golden State Warriors as much as we have as a team. So, it's one of those situations where I'm just genuinely wondering what type of strategy we're going to go out there throwing at those guys early on, and should I get frustrated with various things that look like incompetence but ultimately could be us just kind of throwing different things at them. And so, I like how the Memphis series ended up, even though I thought we played extra basketball, doing things that just did not work. I don't think you can get away with doing that against the Golden State Warriors at all, because some of them stuff that you do that should work won't work. You know what I mean? It's like you can't do stuff that doesn't work against them, because some of the stuff that is supposed to be successful, they're going to bust through. And so you're going to have to give them at least 2 games of that. So this is going to be a long series. It's going to be a long series. Or it's going to be a short series with us going home early. But I don't see us wiping the floor with them like we did in the regular season, because this is playoff time, and that is the Golden State Warriors, and they are healthy. You get a headache thinking about what they're going to do to you, given the fact that they've just played such a very good Sacramento Kings team and got tested the way that they did. But we pose some different threats. We are, like I said, much bigger, stronger, and we're going to put a lot of pressure on guys like Draymond Green and Kevon Looney and those guys, they're going to have to deal with Anthony Davis. They're going to have to deal with Ron James. They're going to have to deal with Rui Hachimura, and that is not going to be fun for them. But the thing about it is, it will be very fun for them if they have to guard Troy Brown, Emily Beasley. You see what I'm saying? That's going to be easy. This is the Golden State Warriors. We got to be honest with ourselves. The temptation to ask Malik Beasley to shoot a bunch of threes is there for Darvin Ham. But the percentages for what we need to believe in regards to that shooter is not there. That's what we need to be honest about. So as we go into this series, if we're thinking about being eccentric about allowing him to shoot the ball, and we do the same thing with LeBron James, that definitely does not play into our strengths against the Golden State Warriors. It's usually me being sarcastic when I have to reference something like this, but this is actually the case. You do not want to get into a shootout with the Golden State Warriors. Okay? Usually we say that about other teams and then say, least of all, the Golden State Warriors. But no, this is actually them. So if LeBron James thinks that his three ball will be respected in this series, he's going to make a fool of himself going 3 for 10 with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on the floor, fam. Do not expose your weaknesses to this team, bro. Okay? We know you can shoot a bunch of threes. We've seen you hit big shots in the playoffs many times, so your confidence is sky high. But we have got to look at the data that is in front of us and manage every single possession, because the only way you're going to beat a dynasty team like that is taking every possession seriously and playing 48 minutes. And if we're throwing possessions away, jacking up three-point shots against that team, it will turn into transition threes for them. That's what we need to understand. Transition threes. It ain't a regular transition situation. That is Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They're going to pull up and they're going to hit those. Jordan Poole as well. He found his rhythm in this series. He looked really good in Game 7. So I'm telling you, the type of way that we just saw the Warriors play, we're going to also have to play as good as we did against Memphis to beat them. And in the way we played against Memphis in the Game 6, we'll definitely beat the Golden State Warriors every night. They can't beat us if we play defense that way. I'm sorry. They ain't got enough three-point shots in their arsenal. However, if we play like we did in Game 5 or Game 2, I can assure you we're going to drop games in Golden State, and this series going to end quick. And we're going to be sad. I'm telling you right now, this is not the Memphis Grizzlies. They are not going to miss some of those shots. Ain't no Brooks over there. Ain't no Tyus Jones. Ain't no David Roddy. None of those bricklayers on this team, man. So we got to understand that three ball can be hit from anywhere. Even Draymond Green hit a corner three in Game 7. Wiggins' three-point shot looks great. DiVincenzo can string together threes. This is not the team to ever disrespect in regards to your defense, period. Defensive principles must be taken seriously, and Anthony Davis has to be on the floor every game in this series. We can't have him not be out there for any reason whatsoever. I'm sorry. We disappearing acts, 14-point Anthony Davis, 4 for 14 Anthony Davis. I promise you Golden State's going to wipe the floor with us. It ain't going to be pretty. So guys got to get their efficiency in order. I like what I saw from Bron and AD in these last two games. Well, Bron in the last game, AD in the last two as it pertains to the offensive side. Very efficient. That has to carry over, man. That has to carry over against Draymond Green and Gary Payton and Andrew Wiggins, three of the best defenders out there. You know what I mean? This is what it is. So I'm not scared of the Golden State Warriors because over the last month and a half, 2 months, I've learned to respect what we have as it pertains to how scared they should be of us. They should be very, very concerned about going to a 7-game series against this roster. But they are the Golden State Warriors. They have overcome a lot of wars, and they do expect to overcome us, especially with home court advantage. So as I've been saying all day, we got to get the early ones. When you don't have home court advantage, you got to get the ones on the road. That is definitely the case. Now that we know we're playing the Warriors, which is what I suspected, I definitely picked the Warriors in 7. If you guys have been following me all week, you know that this is what I said would happen in the end. I didn't know how we would get to this point, but I knew that somehow Golden State was going to win the series in 7. And when I picked them at the beginning of the series, I was confident, and then there were times throughout this series where I just told you guys I don't see that anymore. Sacramento should win this series. I expect Sac to win this series, and by the time we got to the end, the very thing I thought I had seen in the beginning was the thing that we saw in the end. Is Golden State find a way to win the games they need to win, overcome circumstances, and ultimately get the game 7 that was ultimately coming their way. And there was a moment in this series, somewhere around game 5, when the Kings had like a 15-point lead around the third quarter, 7-minute mark or something. I looked at the score, and I told myself, I'm like, the Kings are up in the series. They're up big in this game, but Golden State is going on a run. The entire series is shifting right now. And sure enough, Golden State has won, 2 of the last 3 games and probably won all the quarters in those games that they won. I mean, it's just an understanding that you're playing against the champs. And when they have any indication that they can come back on you and take the series from you, they're going to do that, even if they're down. And so we need to learn that and understand that. They dropped 2 games in the series that they just came out of. The first 2 games, they dropped them, and they still won the series. So we got to know that they have home court advantage against us. They didn't have that against SAC, so they're definitely going to enjoy what comes with that. But at the end of the day, Anthony Davis, if he plays his best, will prove to be too much for them. They have no answer there. I'm telling you right now. That's the difference in the series, in my opinion. It's Anthony. If he's blocking shots like he did, rebounding the ball, and scoring, for goodness sakes, Anthony, score. If we can get that out of him. And everybody else plays the way they should play, and Darvin kind of learns from what worked in Game 7 and kind of implemented if it works in this series, because it may not. But get some stuff down there that works. I think we win the series. I think the Golden State Warriors have been banged up pretty good by playing a long series with the Sacramento Kings, and they're not going to get any rest. They're not getting any rest. We did get some rest, and that was much needed rest for us. Given the fact the series is close, I know Golden State is happy. They get to play Sac and then the Lakers. I mean, they don't even have to travel at all. I think that's ultimately a thing, given the fact that both of these teams got guys that are in their 30s. So, that's something we could take advantage of. I think we are a little younger than them, even though we have Braun on the team. They have a lot of young players, but I think per man, we're just a little younger, I think. But do not quote me on that. At the end of the day, we should have the energy to go with this team. We got guys like Austin Reeves, as I said, Rui Hachimura, Vanderbilt, who is going to be big in this series. Vanderbilt's going to be big. They're definitely going to leave you open for 3, and we're definitely going to start you, as to which you're definitely going to have to hit those with AD and Braun on the floor. We got to see how the matchups look, because maybe it'll be an entirely different dynamic. So I don't want to carry over what we saw in the last series, and I think that's a natural thing for fans to do, but matchups are totally different when you're talking about Memphis versus Golden State. So maybe we do want Vando starting in this series. Maybe we want to see totally different stuff entirely. I don't know. But the first game will definitely tell us what, a little bit. It'll be a fill-out game for sure. At the end of the day, the Lakers need to play game 1 and game 2 like it's game 6 and 7. Just like I said, man, this is urgency that I'm trying to, put forth in this camera, because you're going against Steph Curry. He can most definitely win on the road. And I know that people are saying, no, they're not. That's the irony. The Golden State Warriors have been a horrible team on the road. But like I said, they exercise those demons in Sacramento, winning 2 games, including Game 7 there very comfortably. So they can win on the road now. That was something that was only in place because they were leaning on certain players that they're no longer having to, with everybody being healthy. This is the same group of guys that won the championship last year. Even though Gary Payton's path is kind of taking an interesting detour, at the end of the day, he's still back with the same team in the same role, and he's in good shape now that he's been back from his injury for a while. And he wasn't last year because that injury took place in the playoffs. So we're going to get a better Gary Payton. Just like I told you about Desmond Bane, we're going to get a much better Gary Payton II than the regular season has seen, than Portland saw, obviously, when they had him on the team early in the year. We're getting the real one. So that's going to be very unfortunate for us, given the fact that he can defend very well. I think Austin Reeves is going to have a real tough time in this series, man. This may not be an Austin series in terms of him being able to flex like he wants to, because he's always going to have an elite defender on him, unfortunately. So we got to be ready for that. That's another reason why I'm worried about Beasley, because sometimes he gets forced into turnovers and stuff like that. This is not the series for that. Wiggins, Moody, Draymond, those guys, they're going to be taking the ball from us, man. I can tell you right now, they got quick hands, and they're all very good at that. Looney, all of them. So, you know, obviously Klay Thompson is a fantastic defender as well. So I'm just very much concerned about our guards in this series, man, because the defense that those guys are going to throw at us on the wing is going to be noteworthy for sure. Championship worthy, most definitely. Already proven. And so, like I said, this is an Anthony Davis series. At the end of the day, he's going to have to be efficient. He's going to have to be on the floor, healthy, and continuing to dominate defensively, man. Breaking up anything that they do in the paint and rendering them a shooting team only. Make them shoot 50 threes a night. It is the Steph Curry-led team, but they're not going to win 4 games that way against us. They're not going to. Especially if we're turning defense into offense and keeping them completely out of the paint. But that's what it's going to be required. You're not going to be able to stop them on the perimeter, but you can definitely limit some of them Steph Curry layups and Draymond Green layups and stuff like that. Wiggins is going to get in the area. He's going to get to the line. But some of them other dudes, no. We got to limit those. SWAT everything coming at the rim. Because the one thing that I cannot stand is seeing Steph Curry's little teardrop layups and all the little finger rolls, and that stuff needs to be swatted with the personnel that we have. So that's important. Also, D'Lo knows that team. He knows them. He played with them. He was in that rotation. He could give us some pointers. We're going to use him in this series, most definitely. And so if hopefully he can have the hot hand and, just play smart and methodical and offset some of that pure shooting that we're going to definitely see. If he doesn't have a good series, we're not going to be okay. I can tell you that right now. We're going to need D'Lo to be good D'Lo for the majority of this series. And so that's really what it comes down to. We got to keep him sharp. Dennis Schroeder's defense is going to be important. He's going to be put on Steph Curry. He's going to be put on Jordan Poole. Dennis Schroeder is going to be ever so important. He did not have a good Memphis series. I do expect for him to get back up and play better. He can't have a bad playoffs, man. The Lakers cannot win the championship if Dennis Schroeder continues to struggle throughout the playoffs the same way he did against Memphis. I'm just telling you right now. We can't win. We need him to play well. Okay? He's played well enough all season long, but we ain't got but maybe one good game out of him in these playoffs. And even that didn't show up in the stats. Okay? He got to show up. So, these are things I'm looking at. Guys like Troy Brown, we're going to need him. I hate to tell Laker fans who want to see Troy Brown out of this series, but he's probably going to be needed because his perimeter defense and his wing, him as a wing and a small forward, it's just going to be something that we're going to need out there with Wiggins and GP constantly playing 4 and 3 along with Steph and Klay on the floor with Jordan. So you're just going to need more wings in this series than you probably would have in the past. I don't expect to see much. Bamba, as we saw, he didn't get any playing time in the last series, basically. I do not expect him to get much in this one with all those shooters on the floor. Wenyen Gabriel's going to get some playing time, probably against Looney, but I could totally see us just rolling with Anthony Davis as much as humanly possible in this series. I'm talking 38 to 40 minutes a game. I just see that coming. So, Vanderbilt, I don't know how he's going to do against Draymond, but he's definitely going to have to be disruptive. And he's going to have to beat Dre to 50-50 balls and stuff like that, which I'm certain he will do. And, it's just a lot of stuff there to see in that series, man. A lot of stuff to see there. They do have a nice bench. Guys like Dante DiVincenzo, you don't want to turn him into a 20-point scorer. A guy like Moses Moody, don't want him turned into a 20-point scorer. But do understand that they may. There are going to be games in this series that we're probably going to have to score over 120 points to win, even with us playing good defense. So we just got to be ready for that. And against their defense, that's going to be difficult to do. So I would tell them the same thing. Don't come into the Crypto.com arena trying to score anything less than 110 points. Don't do it. We're going to win that game. And so that's just what I see there. I love the fact that we played so well in Game 6, scoring 125 points with fantastic defense. I do not expect our shot blocking as a team is going to wane at all. I think that's who we are. And I think they're going to get swatted a lot. A lot more than they did against Sacramento. They're not going to like that too much. But the 3 ball is going to fall, man. We're going to have to respect the fact that they're going to get leads just off the strength of that talent. The shooting talent that they have is going to take leads from us too. So it's going to be a tough series. You're going to be up by 15 and may lose that game just because of how well they shoot. I'm just telling the truth, man. It's going to be some tough games for us, but it's going to be some tough games for them too. because there's gonna be times when they're gonna want to use guys like Jermichael Green and Lamb possibly. If they ever go to any of them dudes, they're in trouble because we're gonna outclass them. So this is why I love having a deep team, because even though I look at the Golden State Warriors as deep, if they roll an ankle or two, you're gonna expose a couple of them dudes that they'd rather not play. And that's just a problem the Lakers really don't have. Some of the guys we don't want to play, we see every game. It's the guys we want to play that are buried behind the bench. So it is what it is. I just love us because of that. Really, no matter again who we see, honestly. But you gotta be able to expose those guys, which is why getting guys in foul trouble is important. Driving at the rim is important. I need LeBron James again to respect how important each and every possession he's in control of is. Every missed 3-point shot turns into a triple, foot staff, or a transition bucket. Every turnover, same thing. So it's one of those situations where we're going to need him to limit any type of turnovers, man. Any type of situations like that. Because every time you put the ball in their hands, you might as well just score his 3 points. That's just who they are, man. So that's really what it comes down to. I hope Darvin Ham is ready to give his best overall performance from game to game to game. He's going to be looked at with a magnifying glass like no other, given the fact of who's on the floor at all times. So many Hall of Fame talents, so many different upside guys, such noteworthy star power. You know, it's very special to see this. And unfortunately, it's just one of those situations where one of these teams going to have to lose. That's what it really comes down to, man. One of these two teams going to have to lose. This ain't one of them series where I don't think anybody should think themselves as an expert in regards to what could happen here. It's LeBron James versus Steph Curry. You don't know what you're going to see. But I can tell you it's going to be spirited. And Memphis fired up LeBron James in a different way. And the way that he walked off that court at the end of Game 6, without saying a word to any of them dudes, I think some of that had to do with them being disrespectful to him. I think some of that has to do with him being refocused and ready for the second round immediately. And I think he probably saw this coming, just like a lot of us did. Sacramento's a hell of a team. Don't get it twisted. They could have very well won the series, but as we are here right now, they simply did not. And so now that we're in this situation, he was preparing for Steph Curry. And that's somebody who's taken some from him and somebody he's taken some from. And since he's been in this Western Conference, as we've said, he hasn't had no series against this dude. But some of them series he did have against him were nightmares. So it's going to be a battle, man. I don't think this thing goes anything less than 6. I really don't. I don't think it goes anything less than 6. I do have us winning the series overall. I'm just going to tell you guys the truth. I do think the Lakers win the series. I think the Golden State Warriors are just a little too small, believe it or not. A little too small. I think we're going to win the rebounding total a lot of the time, even though they're a very good rebounding team. And I think we're going to render them a jump shooting team, which is something they probably are comfortable being, but I don't think they can win against us doing that. They have to get some dribble penetration. They're going to have to get some points in the paint. We defend too well for them to win shooting the ball. If they can shoot above 42% every night and hit about 18 threes a night, then tip your hat. They're going to win the series. But even the Golden State Warriors are going to have to live and die with the 3, and they haven't faced a defense like this. They haven't faced a defense like this maybe ever, to be honest with you, when you consider what we're putting down there with Vando and AD and Rui Hachimura, who's now turning into a serious defender, and in the wings that we have that play defense as well, who are just feisty enough to lead you into Anthony Davis's wingspan, rather. So, as long as we can keep AD healthy in this series, I'm fairly confident we're going to get the Warriors. It's going to take a hell of a lot of games. It's going to take some frustrating nights. We're going to be cussing at the coach. It's going to be some things down there that are just going to work out for the Warriors because they have Steve Kerr as their coach. We're just going to have to be honest about that. I do not expect us to win the coaching battle from night to night, and that could be what costs us this series. But I did like what I saw from Darvin overall with the last adjustment, and we blew that team off the map. So that should give us a lot of confidence going into their building, Chase Center, and at least being able to get the split. I respect the Warriors too much to think that we're going to walk in there and waltz over them. I do not believe that that that's the best bet, but I do from game to game expect the Lakers to get wins. I do. But I just understand that some of that stuff is just going to be blown open by Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry. They're going to get theirs. So we need to get ours just the same. So that's my early take on this series thus far. Salute to Kobe Bennett, just passed, obviously. But I definitely didn't want to forget about it. He didn't have to face the Golden State Warriors in any playoff series. None of them. That's just how interesting, and we skipped, that dynasty of theirs, and they skipped ours. We just never had to run into them. But now, we finally do. We finally get that battle with that Warrior squad that we've been long waiting to see. And with Steph Curry and LeBron James on the same team, that's going to be epic. Here we are. The Lakers put themselves in a position to be in the second round. And the path that we chose to take, and I say chose because I thought we could have did some things to put ourselves on the other path, maybe see Denver and Phoenix. But the path we chose to be on is this one here. And, we got past Memphis. We got to Golden State. And so this is where you say, we want to get out of this round, but I don't think it's really any shame losing to the Golden State Warriors. Now, the question is how? If you're getting blown out every night and you strategize poorly and nothing that you did made any sense at all, then, of course, we're going to be very upset. But if we get to a Game 7 and Klay Thompson hits a 3 at the buzzer, how mad you gonna be? You know what I mean? That's how it really is when you're going up against this type of talent. But in that same breath, they gotta say the same thing in regards to us. You get down to the last minute and you're dealing with LeBron James, he hits the shot, you tip your hat, you go home. And so they gotta respect what we have just the same, and that's the reality of it. That's why I have no problem picking us. Because most of the time I say realistically, you're going up against Steph Curry in a 7-game series, you're going home. But guess what? Realistically, you're going up against LeBron James and Anthony Davis healthy in a 7-game series, you're going home. So which is it? I'm just going to go with the team I have. I'm going to go with mine. That's how I go. So as a homer, I picked the Lakers. And as somebody who's kind of objective in regards to what I'm seeing, I still probably pick the Lakers low key. I think I probably do. And the reason why is because I genuinely believe that we have a deeper roster. And I genuinely have seen some real weaknesses from the Golden State Warriors this year. And they did struggle with that Kings team, who I think they should have struggled with. But maybe not in the way that you thought they should. And so while the Lakers also struggled with the Memphis Grizzlies, I watched the Lakers close enough to know that all the holes that they left open to the Memphis Grizzlies could have been closed. Because could have very easily swept them. I know this. And so as I look back on the times when we played the Golden State Warriors this season, I know they were missing players. We were missing players. Gary Payton wasn't healthy. All these different things that definitely changed what it is that they were. So I don't really look at that regular season at all. Scrap it. We dominated them. Cool. I don't think it matters. And so that's what I'm telling all of y'all. With respect to the data, I just don't put much stock into it. That Golden State Warrior team couldn't win a game on the road. They had chemistry issues. They were reeling off of negative stuff with Draymond. All of that stuff is really, really, really behind them right now. And they're very much on the same page. Pretty damn happy as we speak. So I just think we're getting a different Golden State Warrior team. Obviously, they're getting a different Laker team. And you just got to throw away that data and believing in that data and looking at that and saying, we beat the Warriors in the regular season for the last several years. We can beat them in a 7-game series. It's just fool's gold. It's fool's gold. It's the very essence of walking into that thing unprepared and then getting blown all the way out and hitting that reality track that tells you that you're going up against somebody that has 4 championship rings. You understand what I'm saying? Do not disrespect them by walking in there with that regular season record on your mind, Lakers. Don't do it. Throw it away. You should tell yourself you were the one who lost the 3 games, not the other way around, or 4 games, whatever it was, not the other way around. So that's what I want to say, man. We got to protect ourselves from being arrogant because we have had a lot of success against the Warriors over the last several years. We have beat them in the play-in tournament, and all that tells me is they're still pissed about that. Steph Curry's still pissed about that and wants to get back at us for that. So that's how I think they think. Those are killers, and they don't need a whole lot of motivation to face us. With that being said, let's circle back to what I just said. Those are killers. I don't think we really have any killers on our team. We got overly talented and ridiculously accomplished champions. Okay, but killers, no, not like that, not like that. Steph Curry wants to take you out, and he wants to shoot from 40 feet away doing it, and he's gonna dance, and he's gonna rock the baby, and he's gonna do all types of stuff that's gonna let you understand that he's talking crap, just like those other guys, but he's backing it up in ways that they just simply will never. So that's what it really comes down to, man. I have a lot of respect for the Golden State Warriors, just as I expect they have a lot of respect for us. And given the fact that we're 100% healthy, they shouldn't be getting no good night's sleep going up against us. And if they are getting good night's sleep, then we go catch them off guard and smack them in the face. That's how that's going to go. So I'm just going to tell you right now, both teams better be ready. Because if they see what like I see, it's going to be a battle. This could be your Western Conference Finals. No disrespect to Denver and Phoenix, but these two teams are probably going to be the teams that come out. It's going to be one of these two. Because Phoenix ain't deep enough, and I don't think Denver can beat either one of these teams. I really don't. If they're lucky enough to beat Phoenix, which I don't have them beating, they ain't beating the Warriors and they ain't beating us. I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't see that. So it's just the Western Conference Finals in my mind. I really believe that. With respect to KD and Jokic, who are firmly great players that I would never disrespect in this way, these are the two best teams in the West. And so that's what I believe. I firmly believe that. The Denver Nuggets have proven a lot, but they ain't proven they can beat these two teams. No, honestly. And they didn't have a regular season where these two teams was really dominating like they about to. So I take our championships over their regular season success, and I say we're better. Straight up. So that's really what it is, man. That's what it is. I'm excited about this series, although I kind of wanted to see Sacramento for nostalgic reasons. I just really wanted to return back to that cowbell era. I just liked it. But I'm also kind of glad we didn't have to face them. I think De'Aaron Fox down the stretch of a basketball game can be rather dangerous. Not more dangerous than Steph Curry, but, Sacramento is a team that I think poses a lot of threats for us just the same. So I am glad we don't have to see them. But I don't relish in the idea of having to stare down the barrel of the Splash Brothers. But I'm confident that as long as Anthony Davis is healthy and LeBron James is spirited and continuing to heal from the foot, that we will find ways of ultimately being the victor at the end of the series. Now, however path we take getting there, I got my fingers crossed that it'll be a good path, that we don't hate every game we're in. But all in all, I have so much faith in this roster that I just simply think it's a better roster than the Warriors roster this season. So that's what I got to say. Of course, homework will be done. We will look at highlights of them as much as necessary to get caught up on how that series went, even though we watched enough of it to kind of get an understanding of what the Warriors are doing. But I do expect that more homework will be necessary going up against a team like this. And we're here, man. This is what we fought for. This is what we put ourselves in a position for. This is what we were doing all the rants and raving for and all the different cussing and all the different things that we were doing throughout the season is because we wanted to get good enough to be in a position like this. This ain't the regular season no more. We're out here getting to the championship. And so it's a great feeling. It's a moment to savor and to think about. And to understand that we're going up against a team with all the experience in the world doing this together. And we don't have that. So practice during this series is important. Guys getting their rest and all that good stuff is important. Fans being loud at the stadium for us is important. Making sure that the Golden State Warrior fans don't drown us out because they will be represented here. Just like we'll be represented there for sure in San Francisco. So it's going to be a serious rivalry when this series is over. I'm telling you right now. I don't think it's necessarily a rivalry right now. But we're going to have our battles. The question is, and this is a real question, will Draymond Green do anything at all to hand us the series? This is a real question I have, and I'm very serious. If we start this series, a lot of times Draymond, and he did this in the last series, stomping on Sabonis' ribs, and for some reason he was able to win the series somehow. He's still around. And so my question is, will his emotions get the best of him? Because it can do that from time to time. He's going to be on the floor 7 games against his brother Bron. We know that's one of his closest buddies in the league. But it's going to be some battles out there. It's going to be some battles. So I just wonder if anybody's emotions are going to get the best of them. If guys are going to be as good of friends at the end of this series, because this is different. This is different. We are trying to battle to get to the third round, and both teams have older players that don't have time to waste. Both teams have dreams of passing each other up in championships, and that's another aspect of this. Steph Curry's trying to pass Bron up in championship rings, and Bron is trying to get that lead back. So they're both stuck at 4, and this series could tell the story of who will get to 5. So definitely understand that as well, because I do think that the Eastern Conference could potentially be in trouble if one of these two teams comes out of the West. They better hope it's Denver. But that's what I got to say, because some of them Eastern teams right now look a little suspect. They all look a little suspect to me. Miami might run through all of them. So that's just how I was looking right now, looking at how the Knicks played today. But anyway, enough of that. At the end of the day, I tell all of you that the Los Angeles Lakers are in the playoffs, having won a series already and looked as good as they've looked all season. In the very last game we saw them in to close it out. That is a very strong indicator. And just like I said in one of the videos before, Avery Johnson already picks us to win the Western Conference. He already has us winning the Western Conference. So that should give us some hope, because that is a very reputable guy in the NBA who knows what he's talking about. So that makes me feel very confident. And so I got us too, man. This defense is going to carry us, defense to offense. Turn their turnovers into buckets. And mind you, Sacramento made the mistake of allowing Golden State to do that. They had 22 points off turnovers last I checked, and that was before the game even ended. So we cannot turn the ball over against Golden State. They will turn them into buckets, transition threes, just like we already said. So, ice in the veins, baby. That's what we want to be about, man. We shoot the 3 ball pretty well nowadays. Let Rui get his shots up. Hopefully Austin can find his. 1 of 7 in the last game. I don't know where it's been, but he needs to find it again. Efficiency is key for all of us, man. If you're not very efficient against the Golden State Warriors, you're going to have a hard time beating them. Free throw shooting, things like that, we can't fall apart. We got to be able to hit the freebies every night. So that's what I'm hopeful we'll see. No reverting in any way. And I think as we get a chance to see this Golden State Warrior team enough, it'll just be about how we keep up with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole as they're running our guys off of screens and darting around and shooting the ball. Once we figure them out, if we don't wear ourselves out, I think we'll be able to overcome them, because we're just going to be able to move in on them. Scoring in the paint, in my humble opinion. Draymond Green, got to get him in foul trouble. After that, it's just about Kevon Looney. And as good as Looney is, Anthony Davis is not Sabonis. And we're going to eat. And we're going to eat a lot. So that's really what it is, man. Very excited about this matchup. So, I think I've said it all. There will be more, as you know. But at least we have an understanding of who we're playing and who we're not. It's the Lakers versus the Warriors on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.